Bangkok braces for the inevitable as Thailand's navy steps in to channel water into the sea. A litmus test for voter sentiment in South Korea. Polls open in a fierce contest for who will be the mayor of Seoul. On its up and away for the much-delayed Dreamliner, the touted game-changer in aviation makes its first commercial flight. Welcome to Asia Today here on Channel News Asia. Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra is warning Bangkok that incoming floods could last for a month. The capital is in crisis mode after Ms. Yingluck warned earlier that it's highly likely that all of the city will be submerged as runoff from the north flows through it. The Thai leader appears to have since toned down her assessment. She's told reporters she is 50% confident that Bangkok's inner zone will not be completely flooded. Most at risk are the areas along the Chao Phraya River, where water levels are feared to rise to more than 2 meters this weekend. And the rising river has flooded part of Bangkok's Chinatown district. The Thai Navy has been activated to help push surging waters from the river out into the sea, while they are working against time to prevent an inundation of the capital.
Floodwaters of up to 1.5 meters high could sweep through the center of Bangkok if the barriers break. The Thai Prime Minister issued that warning amid growing fears about the weekend's high tides.
พลังของน้ำครั้งนี้นั้นมีแนวโน้มที่จะมากเกินกว่าพนังกั้นน้ำหรือประตูน้ำที่จะรับรวมถึงมาตรฐานต่างๆที่ป้องกันค่ะดังนั้นจึงมีโอกาสสูงอย่างยิ่งที่น้ำอาจจะทะลักเข้ามาในพื้นที่ทั้งในส่วนของพื้นที่ชั้นในชั้นกลางและชั้นนอกของกรุงเทพมหานครในส่วนของกรุงเทพมหานคร
Bangkok's domestic air travel has been disrupted. Don Muang Airport was forced to shut down on Tuesday after floodwaters surged in. Flights will be suspended for a week, some diverted to the international Suvarnabhumi Airport.
I just arrived right here. You can see outside a lot of floods. In the other terminal, it's packed with people living in tents right now because their homes probably flooded right now. All the flights now until 11 o'clock, all the flights for today are cancelled.
Evacuees camping out at the airport have been asked to relocate. The flood response headquarters itself is under threat. This has prompted increased criticism towards Ms. Yingluck about her handling of the crisis. One lawmaker says that she should have declared a disaster law earlier to allow easier access to relief and prevention measures. She could come under fire today as Parliament debates the crisis. The government declared a 5-day holiday in Bangkok and affected provinces, and the Education Ministry ordered schools to close until November 7th. The cabinet has also announced a financial package worth $10 billion to help individuals and businesses recover from the crisis. While most of the capital has yet to be affected by flooding, there is growing concern in Bangkok.
ถ้ามันระบายไปได้ตอนแรกมันก็ไม่น่าจะมีปัญหาแล้วล่ะเพราะตอนนี้ก็คือไปกักเอาไว้ตรงหลัก6ค่อนข้างเยอะซึ่งผมก็ไปดูทุกวันเลยตรงคลองรังสิตอ่ะซึ่งมันก็ขึ้นค่อนข้างเยอะนะมันไม่ได้ไม่ขึ้นเลยแล้วมันก็มีปัญหาว่าถ้าเกิดมันคันนกมันแตกหรืออะไรเนี้ยแทนที่ว่ามันจะท่วมแค่ตอนเนี้ยมันอาจจะท่วมมากกว่านี้ก็จะเดือดร้อนกันค่อนข้างเยอะขึ้น
Thailand is used to floods in the monsoon season, but this year's are the worst for more than half a century. They may have killed at least 366 people since July and affected about 2.5 million.
And moving on now to Turkey, the search for earthquake survivors is on to its 4th day now. Emergency crews have been encouraged by the rescue of a 2-week-old baby, her mother and grandmother on Tuesday. Early this morning, an 18-year-old student was pulled alive from a collapsed building, but officials warn that thousands of people may still be buried under debris. Sunday's 7.2 magnitude earthquake in eastern Turkey has a confirmed death toll of at least 450 people so far. The region has experienced more than 500 aftershocks. A magnitude 5.7 aftershock in the city of Van ignited panic at a prison. Inmates rioted, demanding to be let out. Relatives gathered outside the jail, saying authorities had refused to transfer frightened prisoners to a safer place. Some 200 inmates escaped, but 50 returned after meeting with their relatives. Turkey is now requesting aid from the international community for the earthquake survivors. It had earlier said it did not need any help. Ankara has asked for prefabricated housing and tents from more than 30 countries. The government is facing criticism over the slow pace of relief efforts and a shortage of tents and other supplies. The need for shelter has grown more urgent with the first winter snow less than a month away. Another headline is voters in the South Korean capital, Seoul, are choosing a new mayor. The hotly contested poll is seen as a key test of voter sentiment ahead of parliamentary and presidential elections next year. Analysts say this year's high-profile candidates reflect disenchantment with both political camps. Officials report a brisk turnout, which could favor the opposition-backed independent candidate Park Won-soon. Analysts say a high turnout indicates more young people are taking part, and this could help Mr. Park. He is a political novice and a civic activist who has stronger youth support. Recent opinion polls have put Mr. Park neck and neck with Na Kyung-won. Now she is the candidate for the conservative ruling Grand National Party. Ms. Na is a prominent GMP politician and former judge.
집권을 하고 있는 분들 아니면은 권력을 가진 분이나 있는 사람들 이런 분들 위주로 사회가 흘러가는 것 같아서 이제는 진짜 시민들이 일반 서민들이 자기의 의사 표시를 자유롭게 하면서 살아갈 수 있는 그런 바람으로 해서 투표를 했고.
Korea Bureau Chief Lim Yun-suk takes a closer look at the wider political implications for this elections.
Well, the election is significant because it is being seen as a test of both the ruling and opposition parties ahead of the parliamentary and presidential elections next year. Now, Ms. Na Kyung-won is a candidate for the ruling party, and you have Mr. Park Won-soon, who is a single candidate representing all the opposition parties. And so whoever wins, it will be a victory for the parties that they represent. And this is also significant since the parliamentary elections are to be held in April next year. And also, South Koreans will be going to the polls to elect a new president next year. And now a strong presidential candidate right now is Ms. Park Geun-hye, who has been supporting the female candidate, Ms. Na Kyung-won. And so if she wins, this is expected to help Ms. Park Geun-hye in the presidential election.
European Union leaders are gathering in Brussels for an emergency summit in a bid to finalize details of a plan to tackle the Eurozone debt crisis. They are under intense pressure to deliver on a promise to resolve the crisis that could have grave consequences for the global economy. But prospects for a conclusive deal are looking relatively dim. However, Japan's finance minister says he is confident the EU will hammer out a good resolution later today. Meanwhile, the United States has also seemed similarly upbeat.
There's clearly a deep commitment from the European leaders to reaching a strong agreement over the next few days because there is a deep understanding that failure could have very damaging consequences within the euro area.
And Wei Du looks at the latest market action.
Yeah, we see markets today